Now, the party over self-interest, the ruling All Progressives Congress, is ensuring that it secures the leadership of the 9th National Assembly. Now, also, acting CJN gets to sit tight a little longer for another 3 months. This is Plus Politics, and I'm David Alabi. Welcome. Now, the APC is ensuring it is doing all in its power to make sure that the president has no issues with the 9th National Assembly. And joining me in the studio now to discuss this and much more as to how the National Assembly will fare, we have Emmanuel Umoran, a legal practitioner. Good evening.
Good evening, thank you.
And we also have Gochukwu Ikeako, a political analyst as well. Good evening, and thank you very much for joining us. Now, gentlemen, the tussle for leadership at the National Assembly level continues, and we are still waiting for the National Assembly to kick off come June. But now we have the latest report that Bola Tinubu, the national leader of the APC, says that he's throwing his weight behind Femi Gbajabiamila as Speaker, and then we also have Ahmed Lawan as the President of the Senate. Some have said, well, him throwing his weight is because he's trying to secure his presidential bid for 2023. Let's have your thoughts, Emmanuel. What do you make of this report?
Well, he has its politics. It's a game of numbers and capacity. But he has not taken into consideration the thinking of the core north. Would the core north be comfortable with him as the president? Would he not be too powerful as a president? Would the core north not probably prefer a Professor Shibajo, who has worked with Buhari, President Buhari, for 4 years and going to do another 4 years, 8 years together? These are some of the dynamics that may play out. But the fact of it is that he has his capacity because he has a very deep pocket. And with that, he can do a lot of things. But it's still mourning. Politics in Nigeria is a very fluid game. Nobody knows what may come out because in 2015 at this time, everybody thought that the calculations were going to come out the way they came out. But what I have seen over the years since 1999 is that the National Assembly has tried, especially the House of Representatives, has tried to be independent of the executive. From the guy from Kano, what was the speaker that took over from Buhari? They've tried to be quite independent. So the members that are returning members or the new members may have a different idea about who their leaders be. And then there's a speculation too that he is also rooting for his wife to be the deputy Senate president. These are dynamics that may play out. And
okay, we'll go to now quickly weighing on this matter now. The national chairman of the party, the national leader of the party, says that I have no ulterior motives here. Why is it difficult for Nigerians to believe he truly has no motive and is just throwing his weight behind individuals he believes has values and wouldn't bring unexpected surprises or antics?
I think for me, the party politics that we're seeing ongoing across board on the APC, I think it's their own business, because at the end of the day, the interest there is not for the nation. Is strictly for themselves. Mostly, we've seen over the last few years that when people get power, it's for most importantly for personal aggrandizement. So, if the national chairman is saying that the underlying interest is for the people, not for himself, I think it's like the same thing like saying that fire doesn't burn. All right, so it doesn't make any logical sense. For the motive is there that he's trying as much as possible to make sure that whoever becomes the next speaker or the next Senate president work in the favor of the party, and the favor of the party means his own interest.
He says he believes in the Nigerian dream and expecting that every Nigerian receives the dividend of democracy. So we can't just lash out at him and come hard and say that there's ulterior motives.
That's his personal opinion, and the same way I could say that his personal opinion is I could say that his personal opinion, because there's a lot of ulterior motive to it. Because at the end of the day, the last administration, though that the president was INEC declared him winner, there were some things that was personally against the interest of the nation. He stood beside the president. It wasn't about the country for him. So presently we're having issues in Zamfara. We've not seen anything from the party or from his leadership to say, okay, this is what we're articulating with the president towards like the direction of the party to make sure that the security issues are solved. What is primarily important to them at this point is who becomes who in the next National Assembly. So their interest is just for them, not for the country.
Okay, Emmanuel, quickly now. Some would also argue that him throwing his weight behind Femi Gbajabiamila as well as Ahmed Lawan is to ensure that you have people who are loyal to the party's dreams and aspiration for the country. Now, we know how 2015 played out up until now as the 8th National Assembly is exiting and we are having the 9th National Assembly coming through. The whole intrigues, the whole drama, defections, etc., surprises that they weren't expecting. So don't think having these individuals, some would say that, well, they are just trying to ensure that they don't make the same mistakes they made in 2015, still have a majority.
Yeah, well, the majority in the National Assembly wasn't based on the party's agenda. It was based on the personality cult of the president. Most of the persons who contested elections did not push what they know about getting the country out of the doldrums we are in.
They were making specific references to Bukola Saraki as well as Yakubu Dogara.
Yeah, Bukola Saraki and, you see, Yakubu Dogara and Bukola Saraki, it was also the fact that the party did not accept to work with them. If not, they were quite urbane in their approach to governance. They opened up the National Assembly. They were able to reach out to the opposition and get the opposition to work with them. It also needed the party to say, look, these guys won this election under our ticket. Then after the first round of quarrel, okay, let us embrace them and give them the opportunity for the country. But for 4 years, nothing happened because the party refused to accept them as their candidates. And they won the election under the APC. They did. So no matter what, if they did wrong in coming out, but like
defecting,
not defecting, then it was later on that they defected. At the early stage, they were within the party. When Bukola Saraki, Dr. Bukola Saraki had all the court cases, the police harassment, and all those, he was still in the party. He was still in APC when he had all these issues. And it was after all this had gotten to a head that he defected. For over 2 years, he was in APC. So we need to look at these things from what is the interest of the country in this thing? Is it just the parties and the individuals? And unfortunately, this is the game playing out. People are more interested in what they get for themselves than what comes out for the country.
But do you now think that this whole play out is much more of an appointment rather than having elective offices? Some have said that this is the appointed elective office.
Yeah, you see, unfortunately, we are going to have a dictatorship of the executive, where the members, the people who we supposedly elected into office, are not even allowed to choose among themselves. To say, look, this is the person we want to lead us.
Well, the same APC gave the nod and said that, well, you can go lobby with the PDP. But quickly now, we'll go in on this matter now. To what extent does an adversarial National Assembly affect the dreams of President Muhammadu Buhari in consolidating all of the efforts that have been put on ground and ensuring that we have the dividend of democracy? Some have said that what we had play out in 2015 was adversarial. They intentionally delayed certain bills. We had certain passages, budget pardon, and a whole lot more. Bola Tinubu pointed all of these fingers and said that, well, to a very large extent, there was a good dream, but the National Assembly didn't make it come to fruition.
A lot of things that issue we have in Nigeria, that people say things just what you can tell as maybe fake or things that are not verified. Since 1999 till this moment, the best National Assembly that we've had in terms of passage of bills, in terms of what they've achieved under 4 years, is the 2015, is the 8th National Assembly. So what Bola Ahmed Tinubu has no standing. He has no merit, that argument, all right? What APC is trying to do at this point is to have a pliant National Assembly that will just be in there to rubber stamp whatever the executive wants. What we have is a democracy, all right? I want to believe we have a democracy. The democracy have a three arm of government which is fundamental, all right? The executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. They are not supposed to. They're not supposed to play with each other, love each other.
So the relationship, the back and forth is expected?
No, it's not back and forth. They're supposed to be check and balances. All right, because of that, if you don't do that, you have what we call the tyranny of the executive, where the executive can wake up and do something. Look at what's happening on Oge. We'll still get to that. But the end of the day, seriously, Nigerians should be thankful to the 8th National Assembly. All right, we've seen instances where the delay in presenting the budget in the presidency doing what they need to do led to a delay. So they shouldn't put all their failures on the feet of the legislature. No, not that, because the people that will represent it, the people that we had more contact with over the last few years, is the legislature. Half of the time, our president was not in the country.
Do you think that we are always quick to point out the blaming finger and saying that we'll do better than our last mistake or our last government, or we'll do better than whatever party in charge did?
We're not. Because the truth is this, as a point, as I keep saying this all the time, we're a country where we don't learn from our crisis moment. All right, what happened with APC in 2015? What's going to happen after maybe in June will be worse, because at the end of the day, so like you rightly said, a lot of people got into that place, all right, because they rode on the popularity wave of Mr. President, and they got in there. Some of them have their different agenda. You can't just wake up and tell all of them that go with one man, go with this person, go with that person. If they're able to achieve that, that is fine by them.
Talking about agenda now, do you expect that we'll see any surprises with the two candidates that they're pushing for the House Speaker as well as the Senate President as well? Because you look at what happened in 2015 and the later defection, do you think any of those surprises will come into play, because they're talking about loyalty there, and that's a language they hold strongly onto?
Yeah, the surprise of 2015 may not be there anymore, because they would be prepared for it.
You're sure they will rein them in back into order?
But that does not change the fact that when they're in the chambers and they want to take decisions, things may change. But like I said, Tinubu has a very deep pocket, a very, very deep pocket. So it may determine, and then the issue of budget padding, it was the same campaign issue of 2015, that the PDP leadership and the National Assembly was padding budget, that APC came to stop it. Now they are accusing their own members, who are APC, of coming to budget padding. So it's just, for me, from what they are saying, giving the dog a bad name to hang it. Because budget padding has been there since 1999.
Okay.
It's not a new thing. It was the reason why a Senate President was arraigned and tried for 14 years until his matter was struck out recently. You get? So if budget padding had been there since the time of Wabara, it should not be a reason.
It shouldn't be a thing of surprise now.
A reason for saying that we don't want that. Because what are they going to do to change all the members?
Late passages of bills, late delays with the budget.
But it flies in the face of his argument.
He said, I'm telling you, can fact check it. This
They
National
are saying
Assembly.
now it's time to correct things and not make the same mistakes.
Correct what?
What are you
going to
correcting?
do?
The inefficiencies and all of the...
What is the inefficiency? If this was the best...
This is the best National Assembly in terms of the four. They did better than David Mark's administration. They did better than the administration before David Mark, even Chuba Akadebo. In terms of the passage of bills they've passed under the last few years.
And they're saying they want to do better now. So
they are knocking down the Saraki-led Senate and Yakubu Dogara's Senate, saying that they didn't do enough. Whereas evidence is saying that put all the guys before, that these guys did better than them. You might not like them because they left your party, but the fact still remains that they were better off. And like you say, we're only going to have a functional National Assembly if these guys among themselves will choose who will work for them.
Okay, now one of the issues that also raised its head is to what extent does throwing Bola Tinubu's weight behind these actors. Now, some would also say that Bola Tinubu has been a leader, has delivered, and he has an eye for selecting individuals, be it in ministerial office or state actors, etc. Would you say he produces good leaders or has an eye to also help select? And
are you talking of Lagos State or generally? Because if what
both Lagos State and generally, because we also have
State,
a governor who became minister as well.
I'm coming. If you also want to compare that with what Arebo Shala did in Osun State, that's a total failure. So we need to look at, and then let us also look at what Lagos State is. Lagos State has about almost 50% of the resources of all the states put together in Nigeria. I mean, 50% of about 50% of the states put together in Nigeria. That's the resources, the financial resources in Lagos State. And Lagos State has more educated people. Lagos State is it's easier for you to get people to follow your policies. And the business is in Lagos. The businessman wants his business to succeed. So he does everything possible to make his environment better. All of us in Lagos, we run boreholes, we run generators. How many areas in Lagos have pipe-borne water? How many? Look at the road we're coming out, driving in from, trying to go to Ahmadu Bello Way. The road was locked. We had to find another route to get here. So look at the roads. The roads are all caving in. There are so many things that are not right. And when you have a man who has absolute power, controlling a state like Lagos without anybody blinking, he removed the governor at his pleasure. At his pleasure.
Some would say that elections were held, and that's why
he removed the governor at his pleasure.
Second term.
The same thing happened to Fashola, almost happened to Fashola, when, after the first term of Fashola, it was just that people in Lagos had fallen in love with Fashola, and there was a threat that Fashola may leave the party and he may lose, his party may lose. So these are things, let us also look at this.
Fashola still remains the current Minister of Power Works and Housing as well.
Not by his effort, but by Fashola's effort, because of Fashola's contribution towards Buhari's success in 2015.
Okay, Ugochukwu, now the Arawa Youth Forum has accused Bola Tinubu just yesterday of now turning into a dictator and is running an anti-North agenda. I don't seem to understand what they are saying here, but do you have any inclination?
I'm not a spokesperson for ACF, the Ariwa group, neither am I the spokesperson to Tinubu. But the truth is that, and it would be interesting, it would be nice for us not to get in between their power play and their power tussle. Because for me, that is what it is, all right? This is the same guy that worked with you guys to get the president into power. This is the same guys that you guys have your relationship in terms of political relationship.
So can you speak with both sides of the mouth?
No, see, for me, I don't know what is going on between them. But I think, like I said earlier, everybody's playing their own game. All right, the North have their own interest, all right, and the West have their own interest. And as it stands right now, it's clear to them that if Femi wins, Femi will go in there to do the bidding of Tinubu at the national level. All right, and not maybe looking for someone that will be their own candidate. At the end of the day, if the person gets in there, will do their own agenda. So for me, it still comes down to my argument. All right, we're not making this all about Nigeria, all about the country, all about who is competent. What should be the driving thing?
How do we make this about Nigeria? Because now the APC has the majority seats in the House, and it's still an elective office. But even if you have majority and it's an elective office, it's almost not rocket science to know that the pendulum will swing in your favor.
The truth is this: in that same party, you have people that are not pleased with the party's leadership. It is impossible to have everybody to fall in line with what the party is doing.
Talking about not being so pleased now, Ali Ndume as well is also in the race and seems not to want to give up as well. And the Northern Youth Forum says that they're mobilizing support and ensuring that Ali Ndume becomes the next Senate president because he's going to deliver. He's going to do better. They raised issues about him sponsoring the bill for the establishment of the Northeast, a commissioner for the Northeast, and 9 other bills as well. To what extent do you think these individuals will be able to rally support?
They don't have any powers to, because at this point, what is happening in the National Assembly has to do with the senators and the leadership of the party. They cannot push the presidency to do what the presidency doesn't want to do. They cannot push the leadership of the party to do what they don't want to do. Right? All they can do is to put out the opinion piece and write out what they think on the dailies of newspaper or on social media. Their powers is just limited to that. What is going to happen? What is happening already in the APC is the decision of the party. And as it seems at the moment, the party is pushing forward for Lawan and Bamijala. But my take is this: a day is too long in politics. All right. Before June, something else might come in, and something else might come in and tilt the balance. That will make maybe Lawan, because we saw it in 2015. At the point, everybody felt it was going to be Bajamila and I think Lawan in 2015. But a shocker came in. So we can't just rule everything out and say, okay, this is what's going to happen. It's interesting, but the coming days will reveal.
Emmanuel, in your own opinion, what do you think? Where lies the fate of Ali Ndume now in this mix?
Well, Ali Ndume, from what the calculations, there may be a surprise, and a person not known, a dark horse, may turn out to clinch the Senate presidency. It's possible, but like he said, I am insisting that there's something that is going to happen. Most Nigerian politicians are purchasable. If they see money, they follow money. And the only power the only pocket that is deeper than that of President Tinubu today is that of the presidency.
These are still mere speculation.
No, I'm coming. And the influence Tinubu has in APC is quite immense. But unless the presidency decides to go against him, which is possible, given the dynamics, then it may turn out to be a rough fight.
Well, it may turn out to be a rough fight. Thank you very much for your contribution. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Emmanuel Umore, a legal practitioner, as well as Ugochukwu Ikeako. Well, as they say, time will definitely tell, and we'll see how the 9th National Assembly will play out. And when we have the next conversation, we'll be able to make a much more informed communication and decision as to whether or not it was truly an elective or appointed office. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time. Now, we'll take a quick break. When we return shortly, we'll be looking at the extended tenure of the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Tanko Mohammed. Just stay with us.